Well, hello there, my friends. I wanted to say it's, but I also was saying this, so it came out as "That's your boy, Dave Sharpe." Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. This morning, we have a former office manager with a master's degree. We just want you all to know that she has a master's degree. We've put it in the headline here. Needed work-life balance. And she has maybe finally found it. Let's hear from her. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I don't know. I don't think you have enough time for me to tell you all about how I am, but I am awake and alive this morning. And I was saying to my wife as we were about to go live, my wife has also got a master's degree.
Yeah.
She handles our HR stuff here at Legendary.
Wow.
And what was the other similarity? The kids. She has 3 kids. We have
Okay,
3
I got
kids.
you.
So,
So, yeah.
anyways, I was like, "Am I talking to my wife here this morning on the show?" But anyways, it's not. My wife's right there. Here you are. So, tell us how you found Legendary. What were you looking for, and
Yeah.
have you found it?
Yes. So, well, I guess starting maybe last year, I started seeing a friend of mine. Well, I stopped working about 2 years ago because I was like overly stressed with my kids, and office was like too much. I couldn't was too much at the time.
Mm, mm,
And I started looking for ways, to be home with them, and also to have a work balance, because work life balance, because I couldn't have that.
mm.
And a friend of mine from Brazil, because I'm from Brazil, he was always posting on Instagram, because he was working with affiliate marketing. And I'm like, okay, so let me check that out. What is that about? And I started talking to him, and he explained to me what it was, and all. And I'm like, okay, but I live in US, so I gotta find something here, because
Mm,
to make it work
mm.
here.
So
And I
he
started
was
looking.
actually in Brazil, and
Yes,
he's an affiliate
yes.
marketer who is from Brazil and currently lives in Brazil.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So that's how it always started, and I started looking for ways to learn here, because I know the way they work in Brazil, it's kind of different from here. Like the strategies, I mean, the goals same, but so that's how I found Legendary. I started looking, Instagram, and I didn't even have TikTok at that time, to be honest, because I'm
Mm,
not the one that be posting stuff.
yeah,
Never been.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's how I found Legendary, and I'm like, okay, so let's give it a try, and here we are.
So
So
what's
yeah.
happened since then? Give us some milestones or achievements or some things that have
Yes.
happened in a positive way since you've started.
Yeah, so I started, I think I took the 15-day challenge was back in December. I kind of procrastinated a lot, to be quite honest, to put everything into place. And I'm like, okay, let me make sure that this is going to be right. And, with the kids, they didn't want to, I want to still have my life, and at the same time, do my,
Yeah.
my, my work on the side. So I kind of, started putting it all together and on the website and all. So I started posting, I think back in March, but like one here, one video here, one video there, wasn't much, and one a day maybe. And then I was like, okay, but I started to see results like within a week, even though I was posting like once a day. And I'm like, okay, I think this can work. So so that's what everybody sees, right?
Yeah.
So after maybe a month, yeah, it took me like a month to start, like, by mid April, I would say, I'm like, no, I'm gonna go full speed with this. And
Mm,
I start like 3 times a day. I'm like, okay, I can do 3 times a day. Let's go for it.
mm,
And so that's what I did, and I start to see better results since
mm.
then. And so I see that mostly, if you're consistent with everything that you're doing, and that's when you start to see actually things work out.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, just like
because
motherhood, right? Like
yes,
when you parent your children and you're there day after day, they begin to
yeah,
trust you. It's an amazing thing, you know.
it is.
Uh,
It
I
is.
mean, it's like if we think about just children.
Mm-hmm.
If we came and popped into the house every couple of days and just were like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm gonna make you dinner real quick or whatever." Then we left for a couple of days and then we came back, we
Yeah,
wouldn't, that's not the way to build the strongest bond and
exactly.
relationship with our
No, at all.
children. I think we would
Mm-mm.
all agree with that, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and so the human beings out there on the internet or adults, they work the same exact way. There is
Hmm.
somebody who's there every day
Exactly,
in
exactly.
in in this planet of 8 billion people, there is somebody who's
Yeah,
willing to be there every day. And
that's
so
true.
it's a small price to pay,
Mm-hmm.
but there does take creativity. You
Mm-hmm.
can fit it into a small amount of time, but it does take creativity and it does take some dedication. So you're finding the time. How are you
Yeah,
managing your time? I mean, what are some of the things that you're doing or that you started doing that are saving you
yeah.
most time with 2 small children?
Yeah, so basically, because they go to school in the morning, so that's my go
Mm,
time. So
right.
I drop them off and I do my stuff in the morning, and then when they go to bed, I also do some stuff too. So that's basically I try to manage that way. Of course, in during the day, if you have any time, to respond
Mm,
somebody here, because people are asking questions and they need help with whatever. But mainly what I'm doing is like in the morning and at night, so I can take care of them. I'm not gonna change their schedule. I'm gonna keep doing whatever I'm doing, and at the same time I can manage my business.
yeah.
Yeah, so just record stuff and you leave it in the graphics, and then you edit later, and you go from there. So that's
So
how.
so
Yeah,
really just within a couple, not I mean, didn't what did you say about April? You said you had procrastinated a little bit, but when did you
yeah.
finally get through the training and start marketing?
So I got through the training. That's what I said. Like, was back in December that I got through the training. But for me to actually put everything into place and build the funnel and the emails and all, it took me like few months to get everything together, and to finally start working on it.
And that's the
So was
time in which you said you procrastinated, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, I started procrastinating since I met my friend in Brazil, because it was last year, was like mid last year, and then I started searching, and then I came through Legendary by the end of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like think about all that time,
Yeah, I
we
know, I know, I
we
know.
we get into something, we get interested in something, and um and yeah, we look back and we're like, wow, like I've kind of played around with this idea for a year and look at how
Exactly.
far I've gone in just a month when I really
Yes.
committed. So
Mm-hmm.
what knowing how powerful this is, knowing that you can take some training, learn the
Yeah.
ropes and get out there and actually then build a business that is as big as you. I mean, you can obviously see if you put full-time time
Mm-hmm.
into this, you would get a much bigger result,
Exactly.
but
Mm-hmm.
you're putting in the minimum amount of time that or the maximum amount of time that you have
Mm-hmm.
with other things that you got going on and your kids. But now that you know how powerful this is, where do you plan to take this? Is this just something that is for you going to bring in some extra income, which is nice? Do you plan to build this into something bigger? Talk to us about now that all that
Yeah.
research or conversation or procrastination period is over. What
Yeah.
now?
Now I want to put full speed on it. Absolutely. Because when you see the results, like bigger results, you're like, okay, so, this can change things. And I've talked to many people that are with Legendary too. They took the training. I think we spoke to Camila, the other Brazilian girl, one time. So I've been talking to them, and I see like everybody like is they if you put in the work, you can really get results. And I saw it for myself. So it's not something that you just, oh, I'm gonna do it once a day. No, you have to commit, and that's what I did not long ago. But yes, I decided, no, I'm gonna commit to this, and I'm gonna make it work, and it's working. Yeah, and I want to go from here up. So
It's
that's
working
that's the
just
goal.
like it's working just like we said that it would work, right?
Exactly, right. How
It's
funny.
amazing. And we know that it works because we do it. Look at this.
Yeah,
Look at
I
this.
know.
I talked about this yesterday, that I recently won a um, uh, a contest with ClickFunnels. I didn't even
Yeah.
change anything. This is just my personal account, my Dave Sharpe affiliate account here at Legendary. Um, is still marketing, is still making things happen, is still bringing in traffic, and is the number one affiliate of ClickFunnels as of last
There you
month.
go. Hmm.
And so, it I we do it and we teach it because it works.
It
And
works.
this income for me, is an additional this is an addition. My ClickFunnels
Hmm.
affiliate income is an additional somewhere between 30 and 50,000 a month. I can't even remember off the top of my head what it is, but it
Hmm.
is truly that. I mean,
Yeah.
just that one. I should sit here and put the as I sit here, but I'm serious. It's like uh, I have several things that have worked like that over the years. Several, um, uh, several um, different products that I've promoted,
Hmm.
and I have, even after I stopped promoting those products, I still was in some cases still getting commissions, and I know that is the case for a lot of people as
Yeah.
well, when they sometimes run into difficult situations, and they really need that income.
Hmm.
Thankfully, I haven't been in one of those situations to where my affiliate marketing income, basically like saved my life.
Hmm.
Thankfully, um, but what sort of things do you want to do specifically with do you want to travel more? Do you want to move to a different house? I mean, if you think, why am I doing this deep down
Hmm.
inside, what is your answer?
My answer, I want to give more for my kids. That's my answer. Housing wise, and like a bigger house, or um you know I want to be able to travel to Brazil more, because now the prices are ridiculously
Yeah.
expensive. So I want to have the flexibility to do whatever I want without worrying about the financial side of it, and also I can, you know take care of them at the same time. So that's my goal right now. um yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm sure that stems from your own life in wanting to
Yes.
give your kids better than what you had and something different than what you had.
Absolutely. 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 I think all the parents, they kind of go the same way.
Yeah,
Not all,
and
but mostly.
with craziness that happens in the country, in the world, like what happened this
Yes.
week down in Texas,
So sad.
I'll tell you what, obviously that hit from what it appears, that hit um, a Latino neighborhood. I mean, that's even
Mm-hmm.
when I was looking at the pictures, it looked like everybody standing around
Yeah.
um, was Latina, and I thought, wow, um, the the opportunity that I have, first of all, to have been born in this country, but also to have
Mm-hmm.
this information, to have this knowledge and I'm
Yeah.
speaking for me specifically, for
Mm-hmm.
English to be my first language, to have stumbled across some information on the internet that helped me to succeed and all that. And I look at you And I look at folks in this country who have come from other countries and who have, and especially now those folks in Texas, that community I'm sure is rocked by
Hmm.
that. But I just
Absolutely.
look at folks like you, my barber's from Cuba. I love his story. And I just think about how hard it must have been and everything that you've been through in your family. Just people who
Yeah.
are in America who and English is not their first language and they
Hmm.
they were born somewhere else. They came here for opportunity. Man, I don't know your whole story. At some point, somebody, either
Hmm.
you or somebody came here from Brazil, right?
Yeah, I did.
Look,
In this
hey,
case,
you did
yeah.
looking for opportunity, right? Looking
Hmm.
for a better life for you and your kids.
Yes.
And I look at, and there's a lot of people. Now, by the way, there's a lot of people in our community, and I just met one of them from Peru. God, what's her name, honey? Um, Andrea. Andrea from Peru came to our
Hmm.
mastermind event, and I got to meet her. Um, Do you feel that a lot of the things that you've been through and already overcome have given you now the tools to be able to do this too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because when you get here, it's like, even when I got here 12 years ago, I guess. Yeah, 12 years ago. And when you arrive, it's a different country. It's the language, it's totally different. Even though, I studied English in Brazil, it's completely different. It's another language. It's You don't know anything when you get here.
Mm.
So people don't understand you, and you try to explain things, and it's like a little messy in the beginning.
And I'm sure that
Thankfully,
takes a
yeah.
toll on your confidence too when you feel like you're not
Yes,
being
absolutely.
understood and
Absolutely, absolutely. And it took some time, to get used to everything, and to gain respect from people. And
Mm.
I got here, I was young, but at the same time, you still have to get your place, and to, so
Yeah,
yeah, it
you're here.
definitely,
It's
it definitely.
up to you. I mean,
Yes,
I
exactly.
can't imagine. I maybe you came with family, right? But
No, I
you are,
came by myself.
got it. Jeez. This story is incredible. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. I graduated in Brazil, and then I was like, okay, I'm leaving, and I came to US, and I started a training program, and
At
because I
18 years
graduated in
old?
Brazil, I was 21. I
You
was
were
21.
21.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so I got here, and I was doing like a training stuff, and I stayed from there. I never went back. So
Well,
yeah.
the reason one of the reasons why I bring this up is because we all have something that we've overcome. We've
Yeah.
all we all have incredible things that we've done and achieved and learned. And I asked you two really power or just touched on two really powerful points, right? Why are you doing this?
Mhm.
And what have you been through already that
Mhm.
demonstrates that you can do this?
Yeah.
And if we all ask ourselves those two questions today, why am I doing this? And what evidence do I already have that I can get through anything, that I can do
Mhm.
anything? And let me tell you something, my friends, if you've come from another country and you've learned another language and you have survived for this long, you can do anything, my friend. For those of you who have, golly, we've all been through so much stuff. I mean, we
Yeah.
all have things that we have overcome. That is your story. Now, whether you choose to tell that story out on the internet and use it for marketing, you need to know that story in your heart. You need to know what you've overcome and you need to know who you are. You need to be able to look back. What have I been through? And can I do this? Do I have evidence that I can get through things or do I have evidence that I can't? And I guarantee if every single one of us looked at what we've been through and what we've overcome, we would really truly be impressed with ourselves
Mhm.
in confident instead of critical in beating ourselves up in comparing ourselves and tearing ourselves apart or down. I often say if you talk to me the way that I talk to me, I would have a real problem with you because I can be hard on myself. You know what I mean? Um, but wow, if I was you, wow, I hope you feel a lot of confidence and I hope you feel a lot of dignity because you've got an
Mm,
incredible story and you've overcome a lot to be where you're at. And isn't it amazing to know that each and every person who's listening to this has that same story? You have
they
just
do.
as powerful of a story if you
Mm-hmm.
really look at it like that. Um, Look at this. Christina says, I arrived 9 months ago and I
Yeah.
bought the blueprint. I'm creating my funnel now. I mean, I don't know where you arrived from, Christina, but I'm assuming from another country. And
Yeah.
I love to look at what other people have been through and what they have done and can do, because it
Mm-hmm.
also makes me look at what I'm dealing with and say, I can do this. If that's what they have to deal with, I can do this right now because I'm the type who has to get motivation from wherever I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
so
think it's
are
all about
you?
mindset, right? No, sorry. It's all
Yeah.
about the mindset. Because sometimes when I was procrastinating, like all those months, I'm like, I don't know, I was always in an office and doing, HR stuff and office stuff. So it was me, the computer, and the employees. Okay, but it's not something that you put yourself out there. So, you have to shift your mind. Okay, so if I'm gonna do this, I'll have to commit and I'll have to, change a little, like some things, because many people are like, oh, I don't want to show my face, and that's totally fine. But when you see what it can bring to you, once you change your mind and you're like, okay, I'm gonna commit to this, whatever people think or do not think,
Mm,
it's my life, so nobody's gonna
yeah.
do it for me, right? So.
I see that attitude a lot with immigrants who have been through hell. Is that yeah, people are either gonna like it or they're not. But I've done enough to get to where I'm at right now,
Yeah.
and at this point, you're not going to stand in my way. One person or one person's opinion or persons opinion. What do you say to people who are really caught up with what other people think, and so much so that they're hiding
Hmm.
in their homes and they're hiding in their offices. They're it's and if we think about it, folks, it's not just the internet. If you're somebody who's afraid to put your face out there, it's not just the internet. You probably
Yeah,
have that pattern in other areas of your life. It's not like you're
absolutely.
super fearless out in real life, but then on the internet you may feel uncomfortable, but you we carry those things over. So
Hmm.
what do you say to somebody who is really caught up in what other people say, even their hey, I just I I I don't want to damage my reputation. I mean, whatever their reason is, whether it's first, well, let's start with this one first. When somebody says, "Hey, I uh I don't want to I care too much what other people think," and you can
Hmm.
tell that that's really what, and I think that's what most people's issue is. It's a real
Absolutely.
true fear of rejection. It's a
Hmm.
real true fear, and it's not nothing wrong with that. I'm not making fun of everybody. We all have it. What do you say to somebody who deals with that, and have you dealt with it at all, and talk
Yeah,
to us just
I
about that
had.
topic?
That's why I procrastinated all these months, and I was trying to convince myself, okay, And
Mm,
sometimes, when I actually started putting things, into work and everything else, I saw a different. I started seeing a positive um, outcome of it from family, friends, and everybody that knew me. So it was kind of surprising because I'm not, like I said, I'm not the one that is going to be on the internet posting on my personal Instagram, Facebook. You're not going to see anything basically.
right.
Because I was never like the one that is going to be posting. I was always, private about my life and everything else. And when I started doing this, people were like, okay, so oh my God, it doesn't even look like you. You're so outgoing. I'm like, that's not what goes inside.
Right.
So, but I have to work through it. And it's like a mind shift. There's no other name for it, because you really have to understand that it's not going to make, sometimes, like I said, the results can be much more positive than what you think. You
Yeah.
downgrade yourself. You're like, oh, but
Yeah.
I'm going to put myself out there and they're going to think bad of me, or they're going to make fun of me. And it's not the case.
Mm.
Most of the time it's not the case. Sorry, I have my cat here. He's
See, that's a large fur ball.
yeah.
A very furry cat. So, so yeah, wow. So, absolutely, we all agree with we all deal with that. So, what you're saying,
Yes.
you dealt with it too. That's what had you that was the main thing that was
Hmm.
making you procrastinate, and you
Yeah,
actually had the opposite response from the. Were you more concerned about like family and friends, or were you
I
concerned
guess
about
so.
strangers?
No, I guess so.
Okay,
Strangers, I was
family
like,
and
okay,
friends.
fine, they don't know me. I think from what I've experienced and what I've talked to people, they're most concerned about whoever they know, because that's who are gonna
Okay.
judge them in a way.
Okay, yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'm trying to think back to like when I first got started. Was I more worried about what other people thought or my friends and family? But no, you're right. Like we are worried about our friends and family more than anything, because
yeah,
those are the people whose opinions hold weight in our lives and their words can hurt us
exactly,
the most.
exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah, gosh, that's very true. So your family responded more in a positive way, is what you're saying. They were actually
Yeah,
impressed, like, hey,
absolutely.
who is
Yeah.
this chick?
Yeah.
We've never seen this side of you before, type of thing, right?
Exactly, because it's funny, because I'm from, like, I did many HR work, so I was like training and stuff, and okay, that's fine because you're used to it, and it's one-on-one, and you are with them and the employees, and it's fine. I was fine at that time, but when I had to put myself in front of a camera, I was like, oh my goodness. If you see my first video, it's like, the hell you're doing? But then you become more comfortable. You start
Right, you just
doing a little
relax in front of
better.
the camera.
Yeah, yeah.
I think here's what I think, and I just came up for me. I think being able to be in front of a camera is a damn near necessary skill moving forward.
Yes, I think so.
Just simply because what if we all go into another lockdown? How are you going to communicate with people at some point? I
True.
mean, it's not like a science fiction novel anymore, folks. We
Yeah.
just were in some lockdowns over some crazy stuff. Okay, I'm not even going to say what we went through because I don't want Facebook flagging the video here, but we all know. So while we're sitting in lockdown, the next time the lockdown happens, and quite frankly, there were billions of people who were sitting in the lockdown this time who said, "Oh crap, now I can't make money." I
Hmm.
actually, and that's why so many people came on the internet and got started with internet marketing and so forth over the pandemic. I almost said it and got flagged there. See
Yeah.
that? Pancakes. Um, but so wow. So friends and family, man, being afraid of friends and family. How do we deal with that?
Yeah.
That's and when you really it's really that we're afraid. We're afraid. Here's how I deal with it. Okay. I used to run from everything and hide from everything and be secretive and all this kind of stuff because I didn't want to deal with things. I didn't want to deal with people and I didn't want to deal with their opinions or I just didn't have the tools to be able to deal. Here's what I do now. And I've been doing this for quite a while. I try to just go ahead and if I have somebody who I really care about their opinion, sit them down and ask for their support and let them know that I'm really vulnerable and sensitive right now. Wow. Hold on, Dave. You're not giving me tough guy advice right now. This sounds like soft stuff, feelings and shit. Um yeah, it's amazing. Um so I go to my friends, I go to my loved ones now that I care. I go to my wife. I say, I'm about to do something. You might think it's a little crazy, but I really need your support on this one
Hmm.
because this is what I want, and I'm just as uncomfortable as you are, but I need your support. And so now what I do is, and I see a lot of people doing, like, not even telling their family, not even telling their spouses, not like, and I just really think that when we're avoiding something, it's a real opportunity to grow. That's where your moment to change your life is
Hmm.
when something's really uncomfortable and you avoid it, you change
Definitely.
nothing. You
Hmm.
do more damage. But when you face it, so I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to do that for some years now in my life. Go to people, ask for their support. Be a little bit more vulnerable. I tend to get my needs met a lot more when I do that versus you know um, kind of automatically assuming people aren't going to support me, or just make the biggest thing is just making stories up in my head about what they're
Definitely.
gonna do or say. Instead, I just try to communicate with people and let them know what I need and how I'm feeling, and it works fairly well. um, I
I think
realized
in our mind, sorry,
go
I
ahead.
think in our mind, it's the story. It's totally different. We think the worst in our mind,
Hmm.
like what people are gonna say, or but once you actually talk to them and explain whatever it's going on, it's the response usually it's totally different than what we made up in our mind.
Yeah.
It's much better, I guess, in
It
most
is
of the
always
times.
much better. It's
Yeah.
always much better, and I grew up with a couple of people that I watched just make things up in their head all the time about
Hmm.
situations instead of we always a lot of times we pick those things up from people
Yeah.
around us that we grew up with. If we're somebody who is always prejudging situations or prejudging
Hmm.
people, that prejudging what they're gonna say or what they're gonna think, that's prejudging. And a lot of times we'll pick that up from a family member that
Definitely.
we grew up around. And
Hmm.
we worked on that a lot at the mastermind about just looking at limiting beliefs that we may have picked up somewhere along the way. What did you grow up with, or what did you pick up along the way that you're aware is a limiting belief that you've been or have changed?
Definitely the judgment. And I guess that's one thing that was keeping me, from starting, because what other people are going to think, how are they going to judge whatever I'm doing? And honestly, I think we judge ourselves much more than people are going to judge us. Or
Mm,
we tend to judge people for whatever reason. In Brazil, I think the culture is a little different and people are more judgmental than here, from what I
mm,
see.
mm,
Maybe Latin America in general, I would say. So I guess that's a big thing, because we're always worried about what people are going to think, what they're going to say, how they're going to look at us, in kind of
mm.
way. And once you really understand that that's not going to change the outcome of whatever you do, and you're like, okay, you know what, let's just do it. Because but it's a mindset change. You have to change
Wow.
the way you think, because
I mean,
otherwise you're just blocking yourself from something that it can be great, and
yeah.
just because of the fear of judgment. And that's how I see it.
And you're talking about an entire culture, not just
Yes.
a parent who influenced that, or planted that
Mm-hmm.
seed. And that's
Yeah.
really what you got to ask yourself. If you are trying to be successful in your life now with a business, you may have seeds that were planted that you need to go in there and pull out of your garden that are keeping
Mm-hmm.
you from being successful. And a lot of it is
Yeah.
just mental seeds.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great example how just Brazilian culture in general, people are really concerned about what others think, and
Yeah.
it's that makes a lot of sense to me because most of the time, people who grow up in small towns and communities, that those are the only people that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't in past generations when travel wasn't as easy, people didn't travel. They were with their community, their village, their town all the time. And so it was
Yeah.
really, I can understand why people in certain cultures may be really concerned with others' thing because they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
get. But the truth is that we grow up now. You grow up and you realize that the world is a big place, and that what you grew up around, culture, people you love, but
Mm-hmm.
place you want to go to a different place.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
did, and you got up and you moved, and that
Yeah.
is also a really empowering thing to
Yeah.
realize that as we become adults now, and I'm talking about even for some of you who are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,
Yeah, absolutely.
that you can get up. Yes, I do have the belt. You can get up and you can move.
Yeah,
You can do something different. And I don't mean just move physically, but for you, you did move physically and
I
you
did.
came to America. You also, I'm sure, with internet marketing are doing something that is also a big change in
Oh,
Brazilian
yes.
culture. I only
Mm-hmm.
know now a few Brazilian marketers. It is different there. I don't know exactly how, but I know it's different.
Yeah,
And so
it's
you're
different.
also doing something different than
Mm-hmm.
that's way outside of probably normal Brazilian culture, right? So you're
Yeah,
really
out there.
you're stepping outside. You're going hell with it, right? But
Yeah.
gosh, a lot of people just really have a difficult time just having a conversation with their spouse and just
Mm-hmm.
sharing this with their spouse. And so, what advice do you have for somebody who's just trying to take a small step to gain the support of other people in their family?
I think first of all, you have to understand within yourself, um, and understand that, like I said many times, whatever you think, it's much worse than whatever it's going to be the outcome.
Mhm.
And and trust in yourself, because that's the only person that you can really trust. It's yourself, because you're going to take the actions, you're going to do it. So once you have the you change your mind on how you think, and even though everybody has their fears and everybody has their limitations on, like, on mindset wise, I think that's the first thing you have to do. That's the change your mindset, the way you're thinking about the the whole environment that you live in, and the work related, personal related. And that's the first step, I think, to change something, because that's what happened to me, at least. I had first to
Yeah.
change my mind, and then to put everything, you know to start something new,
Yeah.
because my background, it's totally different from whatever I'm doing right now. So I think
It
that's
is
the
it
the
is a
main
big
thing.
it is a big shift.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to zero in on the advice you gave in the perspective about it's never really as bad as we make it out to be.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. It's never as hard as we make it out to be. It's never as easy as we make it out to be. It's
Mm-hmm.
never as good. It's never as bad. It's always usually somewhere in the middle. If I go to my spouse and I tell her, "Hey, I'm starting a new business. I'm going to get trained up. I'm going to spend a few
Mm-hmm.
$1,000s. I'm going to invest in myself." Yeah, I mean, she might be like, "Yo, what the hell?" She might have a surprised, shocking, or
Yeah.
shocked, or even negative reaction. But that doesn't mean that now all of a sudden she doesn't support me. It just simply means that I'm bringing news to her that she didn't
Mm-hmm.
expect.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all kinds of little tools that I've learned over the years to even back up and just simply ask my wife, do you have time to give me 5 or 10 minutes right now and talk? Like, do you have the mental space right now to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times I'm just bringing questions in topics to people at the wrong time, and they're
Yeah.
just react like it can be things that are that small, but we can be so sensitive in, you
Mm-hmm.
know, so there's little tiny tools that I can use, like the one that I just gave an example of, that can help me to get the support, that can help me to
Absolutely.
win friends and family and influence
Mm-hmm.
people. Um, And so I think that's really important. But I also love what you said about trusting yourself. It's so true. They're really, I mean, even your spouse, even your partner, if you're married or you're in a
Yeah,
relationship, they are, I mean, you still have to be a whole person. Two halves don't make a whole in a relationship, anyways.
mm-hmm.
Two holes. And so, um, so trusting yourself, and certainly when it comes to your business, and if you have kids or whatever, really coming to terms with the fact that nobody's coming to save you or me. They
Exactly.
might they might send us a couple of checks throughout a year-long lockdown, but we all know
Right.
that's not enough.
Exactly. Exactly. And even when I first told my husband that I was thinking about it, he doesn't know anything about it. I mean, he knows what I'm doing, but he doesn't understand exactly, what it is. So he was like, okay, whatever. And then he starts seeing, okay, so, okay, you're getting results. Okay, so wait a second. Let me understand what you're doing. let me let me try to.
I know. It's
So it's
you
it's
can
funny because
we all have the chance to go from, wherever our whatever our status is in our friends and family circle. We
yeah.
have a chance to elevate that status.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is right now you just may be another friend or family member within your circle, um, that nobody really looks to for anything, any
Hmm.
advice, or they don't really look to as an example, or they don't really look up to. You're just another average person. And let's all just come to terms and be honest with where we're at in our families. I mean, where we're at in our friends circle,
Yeah.
if we're, are we, we all, if we're honest with ourselves, it's, you know, it can be a tough pill to swallow. It's like, yeah, I'm not contributing. I'm not leading. Nobody's looking up to me. Nobody's
Hmm.
looking to me for anything. I'm not, so you have a chance with this business to elevate your status within your friends, family, and community circles, because it's not about becoming more powerful. It's becoming more influential.
Definitely.
It's in with all of that, with that success, which is financial success and also, popularity or whatever. If you grow your social media channels,
Hmm.
there comes a lot of people will treat you differently. The respect that you've always wanted, you may finally get it. And the reason why that people will start to respect you and people will start to trust you more is because, going back to that piece of advice you gave, because you started to trust you more, and
Yes, definitely.
you stopped relying on them to be there for you, and you started being there for yourself.
Yeah.
And
I
it's a
definitely
little
saw that in
you
quick time. Yes.
your
Yeah.
status raises even in your
Yeah.
marriage, right? Your
Yeah,
husband now all of
definitely.
a sudden is looking, going, "Hey, what are you doing?" You become
Hmm.
more interesting. You're more of a leader. You're more of
Yeah.
a somebody that people look to as a more serious person.
Hmm.
And so I don't know about you all folks. Maybe you've never experienced what it's like to go from non-influential to an influential person, but I have. I know what it's like to that nobody wants my opinion. I know what it's like that people think that I'm a just total screw up. I know what it's like. And now it's amazing. People come to me and they want business advice. They want, you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
want to talk about life. They want my
Hmm.
opinions. They don't bring just any bullshit to me because they know that my time is valuable. You know what I mean?
Valuable. Mhm.
If people are calling you with just absolute bullshit and it seems like they don't respect your time, they don't. They don't respect your time. And guess what? They're never going to respect your time until, like you said, about trusting yourself. They're not
Hmm.
going to respect your time
Yes,
until you respect your time.
exactly. That's exactly right.
So, well, what would you add to this powerful conversation? What would you say to somebody who may be sitting on the fence right now, who's skeptical, or who may be going, yeah, what would you say to that person who's brand new? Maybe they're in that kind of getting started procrastinating phase that you
Yeah.
were in for a while.
Yes. Just do it, basically. Because the longer you wait, the longer you delay your success of any way you think of, personal or business, or I think one action you can change it all, basically. And you got to commit to yourself first. Commit to
Mm.
yourself that you're going to do something, and go through with it. Go through with it. Don't overthink much. Just sometimes we get into too much in our heads, and I think that's the biggest problem, because once you start thinking and overthinking, and that's when you start procrastinating and start, delaying everything that you're doing. So
Trust me. You see this right here? This is a bad neighborhood.
yeah,
I try not to
yes,
I try not to go in there alone.
yeah,
I try to go in there only with a buddy, a buddy system. It's a bad neighborhood up there. I mean, seriously, I can
yeah,
really get myself in trouble with my own thinking. I mean, I can creatively think my way, solutions and creative marketing stuff, but I can also go down some pretty serious rabbit holes that
hmm,
get me in a lot of mental trouble and a lot of mental stress for no reason.
yeah,
And
hmm,
so, yes, it's so important, but
it's
my
the key.
friends,
Hmm,
don't overthink it. It's the key, and it's the gift, and it's the curse. It's the journey of marketing is about, for me, it's the same way that the journey of like getting clean from heroin, like I did back 14 years
hmm,
ago. I got to connect my head to my heart. I got to get out of my head and I got to get into my heart. I'm a living, breathing, emotional person.
yeah,
And I can't ignore that part of my body and that part of who I am. And yes, our mindset. Most of the things that we need to do with our mindset are simply unlearn a lot of the things that we were taught that's holding
yeah,
us back. And in
hmm,
terms of mindset, that first year, be aware of when you go to do something and you don't want to do it. How do you feel? Ask yourself, where do you think that came from?
hmm,
Who did that come from? Who gave you that? Do you want to continue to think like that anymore? Well, you don't have to. What can I do about it? Well, I'm aware of it now. I can walk through it instead of stopping. The
yes,
first year, I believe without a shadow of a doubt, and I wouldn't be doing this if I did not believe this, that within 6 to 12 months, if somebody comes in and goes through our program and is a part of our community and actually listens to everything that we
hmm,
have to offer, including Wake Up Legendaries, in 6 to 12 months, they can be a way much more powerful and profitable version of themselves and radically change their life. 6 to 12 months. Do you believe that too
absolutely.
here?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. In a few months, I already saw a lot of changes within me and the community. You see, like, everybody talking, and everybody's helping each other, and it's amazing. It
Well,
is.
cool. Keep up the great work, Cynthia. Come back and see us. Let's
Thank
do
you,
a round
thank
two,
you,
and I'll let you go. I know your time is valuable and precious, and yeah, keep up the
thank you.
amazing work. Keep adding and writing these
Yes,
chapters to your story. It really is a cool story, and you've got a
thank
great,
you,
you've got a great thing going here. So keep it up, okay?
thank you for having me.
All right. See ya.
See you.
All right, my friends, you can follow Cynthia at um, Insight Incita Marketing. So let me spell it out for you. Uh, INSIGHTA Marketing. MARKETING. Incita Marketing. Um, my friends, wow. What a powerful, powerful episode once again, where we get to hear from somebody who overcame odds, I mean, it's just, even at the mastermind, I looked out and there's so many different people of all ages from all different walks of life, cultures, backgrounds, occupations that people did either before this or even while they're doing this. This is really, really something. And it's really, really possible and doable for anybody who wants it and anybody who's willing to commit to it, just like Cynthia said in this episode today. So, Get in there, get serious, go through the training, invest in yourself today, make a big decision, have a defining moment in your life to where you can draw a line in the sand and say, okay, I've made a decision. And from this day forward, I'm going to get serious and I'm going to commit. Always a good day to get started or start over in that way. All right. We'll see you back here for another episode tomorrow. Get out of here. Be legendary.